Okie dokie. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a SNEW with the crew with myself, Chris Quinton, and Mr. Ross Murphy.
Hello.
Hello. We are going to have a quick chat about the next generation of consoles. So if you're into gaming and that sort of thing, have a listen. Right, yeah. So
welcome to an episode of numbers and figures.
And we'll try not to make it too much of like lists, conversational stuff. Right. So yes, I mentioned to you off air a little while ago that I'd heard some stuff about the next generation of consoles, like PlayStation 5, for instance, and the next Xbox. So
I think it's safe to say that Sony will cleverly call the next PlayStation the PlayStation 5. They didn't make a silly mistake of numbering them funny.
Yeah, well, what's the next Xbox going to be? What's your prediction?
The problem Xbox had is they were always a number behind, weren't they?
Were they?
Yeah, that's why they didn't do it, because the Xbox launched when... Well, it's probably not the only reason they didn't do it. No, it's definitely got to be the only reason. I don't know this for a fact.
Why didn't they have
when
the
Xbox came out,
2?
the PlayStation 2 was that current generation.
Right.
So they had to make that decision because Sony were always that number ahead.
So they needed to make some sort of a statement through the number that they tagged onto the system.
Yeah.
So 360 made it sound like... Woo.
At least it was comparable to the PlayStation 3.
Right, okay.
Well, I don't know their logic behind the PlayStation Xbox One.
Whereas Nintendo just went, oh yeah, we'll call it this and we'll call it that.
Yeah, but then Nintendo have never done it, have they? The most they've ever done is go Super Nintendo from Nintendo.
Yeah, and 3DS. Because it was 3D. And that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, and Nintendo Wii U.
Yeah. I suppose.
But
the most forgetful console ever.
Yeah.
Some really good games,
never
but
played
it's
on it,
just...
I'd love to. I love the idea of it. The idea that you can like get a mini game at the same time as...
Yeah, but...
Like, and take that away and do something with it.
The Switch does most of that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. This is true.
Like, a lot of what everyone says about why Zelda's so amazing is it's just playing the best Zelda game in bed.
Right.
It's just another level of like...
It would be like being able to take that DS one and still play it on your big screen and have it look fantastic, right? Did you play the DS Zelda?
Yeah, I've played pretty much all of Zelda.
What was it called? I don't know, I can't remember. Something to do with sailing the seas or...
Oh, yeah, they're not great, those two, are they?
I enjoyed the first one. I don't know if I played the second one then. But anyway, right, next generation of consoles. So, PlayStation 5. There's been some talk about whether or not it's going to be announced like this year or next year. And then you said you'd read an article from somebody.
Michael Pachter, who is a analyst, who was an industry analyst, would tell people what to buy.
So is he the guy that sort of suggests that it's not likely that we'll see a PlayStation 5 for 2 years?
He's saying 2020, which I would say would be 2020.
It would be sensible, because apparently Sony have had an absolutely huge Christmas of PS4s this year.
Well, they've sold over... They've sold over 75 million consoles already, so I don't know what Christmas added to that total. Right. I don't know if that figure's a pre-Christmas. It probably is a pre-Christmas figure.
The thing is, it's such a powerful console, and they've been releasing some really good games, really attractive games, and some of them are really bloody affordable as well. You know, if you look at your January sales and stuff in the PlayStation Store, do they run those sort of sales all year?
Yeah, they're constant now. I think... The deal is with retailers that they won't impinge on the cost of new games.
Right.
Because the problem, both Sony and Microsoft all of them would probably go digital.
Right.
Distribution only.
Yeah.
If they had a channel for getting their hardware into people's hands, but they haven't, have they?
True.
So they have to placate game or... game basically in the UK.
Yeah.
Or they will lose. How will they get boxes into people's hands?
Very true. So yeah, I mean, I heard somebody discussing about the fact that they're worried that the manufacturers, Sony and Microsoft, are trying to destroy the second-hand game market because they want people to be buying their product at cost or at price. Sorry. at the correct price from them directly.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, this is an argument that goes about that if you had digital only, that they could control the flow of your games.
Yeah.
But it should drive down the cost of games.
True. Yeah.
And
it should. Yeah, without needing to. But we all know that even if you buy a digital download version of like the latest game, it still costs the same amount of money, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is the reason. No, but that is to placate the retailers.
Oh, right, okay.
The reason the latest, newest game is more expensive on the PlayStation Store than it is from Amazon is exactly that reason.
Right. The cost of making a physical copy of the game has got to be pretty low, though, to be fair.
Yeah, but you've got distribution, haven't you?
Yeah.
That as well. I
True.
mean, there is cost that you could, in theory, hand back to the consumer, or would allow you to be less of a wanker with loot boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
Because games aren't getting any cheaper to make; they're getting more expensive to make.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems.
Right. Just because it's such a massive demand.
Because games haven't gone up.
Quality. Is that what you mean?
Games haven't even gone up at the rate of inflation, have they?
Right. Okay.
Games cost £45 still.
Right.
But they cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make.
So you've got to make sure every single one is a banger. Basically.
Well, yeah, and you've got this same problem you've got with movies. You can make an independent. The tools are available to make an independent movie or game for nothing.
Yep.
And publish it, and it'd be brilliant. Or you've got to make a $120 million movie.
Right.
Or video game.
And there's very little in between.
There's very little in between.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I think actually video games are probably healthier in that respect than independent movies, because the distribution's there. Like, there's so many good independent games on your PlayStation Store, you can just go on there.
Oh, really?
And it's a lot easier than publishing. It's a lot easier to publish a video game to a platform than it is to publish a movie.
Are all these things available on Xbox as well?
Pretty much, most of them are, yeah. There'll be exclusivity deals. Only, most games that don't come out, you've got first-party games that will never cross-platform.
Right.
Because they're made, like, Horizon is made by Sony.
Right.
They own the studio that makes it.
Okay.
Uncharted's owned by Sony, etc. And same for, like, Halo and Microsoft.
Metal Gear Solid.
No, that's...
Oh, no, it's independent.
That's a third party. It's Konami. Okay. It's a Konami game.
Oh, yeah, of course it is.
But they've had a very good working relationship with Sony over the years, so that's why the new Kojima game is exclusive to Sony.
Oh, is it?
But they know, because Sony knew they could throw money at Kojima.
It's
He'd make a game only
yeah.
for their platform, because they've had such a good working relationship. And you associate that brand and that person and that series even with Sony.
Yeah.
Like, if you say, what would you play Metal Gear Solid on? You would go on PlayStation.
Oh, yeah. The new Metal Gear Solid sounds a bit weird. There's a new Metal Gear game.
Yeah, there is
coming,
a new Metal Gear game coming out.
It sounds like you've got abilities a bit like you do in Fortnite, where you can build structures around you.
Yeah. This game is this game is not going to sell many copies.
Don't think
because
so.
Everyone's still mad at how Konami dealt with Hideo Kojima.
What did they do? What happened?
It just I can't really remember. I think they made him rush Metal Gear Solid 5.
Right.
And so bits were cut from it. Then they took all his name off it. Like it used a Metal Gear Solid poster would say a Hideo Kojima game.
Yeah.
Because he's like the equivalent of Steven Spielberg.
So they took his name off the brand.
And they'd take his name off of everything, on the boxes and everything. And then they put him out. They put him on like this weird Japanese-style gardening leave, where he had to come into work every day but just sit there and not be able to do anything.
What the hell?
Yeah. Weird shit.
How bizarre.
So that game's not going to sell.
Righto. So that's just the most recent one? Where it was treated in that manner?
Yeah.
Just for the most recent game.
So he's left, started his own studio.
Right.
Sony are bankrolling it.
Right.
And so he's making his next game exclusively.
Sony exclusive. You can't blame him, really,
I'll put money
can you?
on Death Stranding not making it to PlayStation 4.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, we've said before actually we expect that game to be arriving in like 2020 or something. So yeah, that would make sense.
What muddies the water with these new consoles are the two interim consoles.
Right, interim consoles. So what you mean, like the Xbox One X?
The Xbox One X and the PlayStation Pro.
Oh yes, PlayStation Pro. I forgot about that.
Yeah, new life into, and so we're sort of on this weird thing with like phones, aren't we?
Yep.
Now,
okay.
So the upgrade cycles quicker, but it's optional what level you jump in at.
Yeah.
So I think if they're really smart and the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox 2 are fully backwards compatible, which is possible now that they've got. Now they're based on PC architecture and not their own weird.
Okay.
I'll spare you the details, but they're basically a PC.
Sorry about that. Child having a random screaming attack.
Well, you could just cut that out.
He's got out of the bath and he wants some food apparently. Anyway, yeah. So what were we saying?
So the new consoles, the interim consoles have sort of muddied the water about when the new ones will come out. Yeah, well, the idea, I don't know if it was in this article that you read, might well be that the PlayStation Pro just becomes like the norm and they start pushing that. And that becomes the base SKU, yeah. And then it...
and then does that push us on to like 2021 before we start to see the PlayStation 5? Because I don't... What's the power like on the PlayStation Pro?
It's good, but it's not... A lot of it can't do native. It can do 4K, but a lot of the games aren't native 4K.
So it's upscaling.
It's upscaling, and a lot of stuff's not 60 FPS. I mean, the Xbox One X is way more powerful than PlayStation Pro.
Right.
But again, it's. I think Sony would like to be in a position where they third-party games, so the games that run on both platforms run best on PlayStation, which probably at the moment they don't.
Right. So, well, I mean, at the end of the day, I suppose as long as there's a bit of a like a year between like Xbox or PlayStation, it would make sense that you have like staggering jumps in technology, wouldn't it?
But if they launched a PlayStation 5 at £400,
yep,
but the PS4 Pro is £200,
yep,
then it doesn't matter. The thing is, they should, in theory, be able to scale the games like they do on PC. So even a brand new title on PS5 will run on PS4 Pro.
Right.
It will just look worse.
Okay.
As far as I can tell, that's the way the industry's going. You're gonna put a disc in whatever box you've got, and it's gonna look as good as you've spent on the box.
So the same would be true in reverse, but people will still be able to create games themselves that are suitable or more suited to like PS4 or PS4 Pro that will definitely run on the PS5.
Yeah.
Right. And then, is it as easy to make games for the Xbox?
They've got the same...
It's the PC architecture.
They are x86 architecture.
Right, okay.
And the graphics cards are really close together as well.
Right.
The main differences between the Xbox and the PS4 is PS4's got 8 gig of really high-speed video RAM as its main system RAM,
right.
And that's where it gets a lot of its horsepower from.
Right.
And then the Xbox does lots of clever things with running its operating system. Its operating system is on a separate virtual machine to what it runs the games on and stuff.
Right. Okay.
So you can pull out of a game and go back to your desktop, and it's just frozen the VM.
So doesn't that happen with the PlayStation?
No, the PlayStation has to hibernate the game.
Right. Okay.
And then if you fire up another app on the PlayStation, quite often it will close. Like
you have to close the previous one.
Yeah. Where the Xbox is a bit more versatile than that.
Right. Okay. So you can actually have two applications running at the same time.
Yeah, I believe so.
In effect.
I don't even know if I've even picked up an Xbox One controller. I think I have, because
right.
I used to live with somebody who had an Xbox One. But I've probably not gamed on an Xbox for more than about 20 minutes.
So are there any other surprise actually, no, Xbox One X. So what's the Xbox One X's successor going to be called, do we think?
Oh, fuck knows with the Xbox. The problem is I think they've shot themselves in the foot. They'll have to just give it a name. They're going to have to start calling it, they'll call it Xbox something now.
So we've got Xbox
One X. Because they can't call it Xbox XX.
If that is Xbox 9 One X, they could go with Xbox X, couldn't they?
The problem is there's loads of connotations. It's all bollocks. But the problem is it'll be the fourth Xbox, so they can't even call it Xbox 4 because the PlayStation's PlayStation 5.
I think they should go with Xbox Triple X. 1. We'll see. Right, are there any surprise contenders? Like people like Nintendo, I suppose, or anything mad like Atari suddenly make a comeback?
The other thing that is muddy, the other thing that is huge now, and it's got to be thought of the fourth column of this, is VR, isn't it?
So, but the VR platforms are all going to be based on our main
PCs,
people. Yeah, so
I bet there are plans at Sony to launch the PlayStation 5 with a new VR headset.
Right. The PlayStation VR is supposed to be very good.
It's very good for the money.
Right.
It is the best VR experience you can get for the cash.
Okay. Do you have one?
No, I've gone on one, and it's very good.
Okay. What games did you play?
I played London Heist, which is I did the shark diving thing.
Oh yeah,
I played the Star Wars X-wing bit. But
so in the Star Wars one, if you're flying an X-wing, it's a traditional like X-wing shoot 'em up, but you can look all around you and see what's going on all around. Can you?
Yeah.
And watch. Is there like an entire dogfight going on around you?
It's a bit pukey, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't got the motion right on it, I don't think.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, they've probably got plans to release it with a new VR headset, but they won't do it. They won't force it on the consumer as a bundle.
Right.
Because Microsoft did that with the Kinect, and it ruined them this console cycle, didn't it?
Work at all, did it? What about Nintendo? Do we know anything about them?
Doesn't matter what Nintendo do. They're on a different upgrade cycle to everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to bring out a new version of the Switch in 2020.
They're more about the playability, aren't they? Than the raw power and the like you say, the movie studio output.
They're a toy company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's games consoles for the kid in you. Or your kids. Yeah. Either way. But
I'd like them to bring back the Game Boy before they think about doing a Switch.
Fair enough. I mean, retro gaming. There's got to be something said for
that.
that.
No, I just mean if they did another handheld.
I know you mean like an updated version
instead
of
Game Boy, doing a 3DS.
Yeah.
Like when they replace the 3DS, bring the Game Boy brand back.
Okay.
I still think the Game Boy brand is probably a lot stronger brand than the DS.
Do you think?
Yeah. Although the DS sold loads.
I had a DS for a good long time. I loved it. I've got to admit, especially when I was travelling. I went off around the world for like 8 months and took one with me, and it was just loaded it up with ROMs and off I went, and it was amazing. But yeah, so what I meant really is retro gaming, as in we've obviously both bought NES Minis and Super NES Minis just recently.
Yeah.
But there are consoles that are being released that take like multi-console cartridges. Like there's one.
They've been around. They're real fringe things, yeah.
Right.
Like the Retron 5.
Yeah,
they've been around a long time, haven't they?
So, is there space on the market for that side of things?
I think it's niche at this point. It's like there's space on the market for people to make controllers for arcade cabinets and stuff, but it doesn't mean that like many people care.
No, true. I suppose that's one thing. Nintendo's games, Nintendo's consoles would look quite good in an arcade cabinet, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
There's stuff that you're getting on PlayStation and Xbox with, these cinematic experiences aren't really,
Yeah, but I still think if I was going to build an arcade cabinet now, I'd build it with a powerful enough PC and that it could run like Street Fighter 5.
Right.
Because why not?
Yeah, why not? Very true. I'd like to play. Have you played Street Fighter?
No, I sent you a link the other day for Marvel vs. Capcom was down to like
Ultimate.
15 quid.
Yeah. I've played that one before, I'm sure.
It's the new one.
Is that not the same one that I played on the Xbox 360?
No, it's just the brand spanking new this console generation one.
But that's physical copy only.
Yeah, for 15 quid.
That's
Are you trying not to buy games?
Not necessarily.
How big's a hard drive in yours? Is it 500?
500.
You'll fill that up real quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
If you're not going to buy physical games, just spend some money on a 2 terabyte hard drive.
I'm trying to be quite selective about what I actually own and have, and then just not worry about queuing things up too much. I mean, I could have this console for 10 years and still get use out of it for half an hour a day. You know what I mean? For a long, long, long time, and still be quite happy just ticking away at old games.
then get a 2 terabyte hard drive for it.
Yeah. This is probably
because what'll happen is you won't be able to download the games before.
I'm not worried about
before you stop playing on it. Probably.
It's not like if I complete a game, my trophy's going to disappear because I, get rid of the copy of the game, is it? It's just, I'm not worried about keeping games that I've completed. So there are certain ones, like certain fighting games, like Marvel vs. Capcom, would be a perfect example of a game that I'd probably have on my system for a very long time. Because if your mate turns up at your house and you want to have a quick game or something, that's ideal, isn't it? Button bashing or whatever.
Of entry of having to spend 40 quid on another controller.
Yeah, this is true. Is that how much they are? £40. Oh well, there you go.
But I've got
maybe that'll be next month.
People have got them. I've got 3.
Right. Okay. Can you play more than 2 player? I suppose there are 4-player games, are there?
Like FIFA's always a good 4-player game.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of games. We don't. This console. Previous console generation, I think my life was different. I lived with my brother, and we had people around all the time.
Right.
So 4 controller games were happening all the time.
Right.
But I don't think I've played a 4 controller game this time around. Oh yeah, no, we play this. Fuck, is it called? There's this game we play. It doesn't matter. And yeah, that's pretty good. But the other thing that's happening, and I tell a lie, we're not playing 4 controller games at the moment. What we're doing is playing games. There's a series of games where it was started by a game called Jackbox TV,
right?
Which was a really funny quiz series on PlayStation and Xbox. And you go to a web address on your phone, and that's how you answer or draw.
Okay.
And then Sony have done a series of games. And I bought some at Christmas, and lots of people can play. A lot of them are 8-player,
right?
And it uses everyone's phones or tablets.
Yeah, I saw that. Wasn't there a free game?
That's
you. On my PlayStation Plus?
Yeah, you should download that.
Yeah.
And even if you just try it out, you and Julie just try it out because it's fun. And I got a quiz called Knowledge is Power, and then there's this crime thriller detective series called Hidden Agenda.
Right.
And you make the decisions between you. Using your phones. You don't even need a controller to launch the game.
Intriguing.
But couch co-op's sort of gone away a bit. 4-player FIFA's really good. It's probably the most fun a football game is when you play 2-player, 2v2.
You know what? I have never played FIFA.
It's a good game.
Yeah, I should. I'd like to give it a go now. I've got an up-to-date console. I think the last time I had the opportunity to play a FIFA game, it was on the Nintendo Wii.
But you could.
I passed.
The thing is, you could pick up last year's FIFA for no money at all.
Right.
Yeah, literally, it'd be about £5, I think.
Cool. Okay, worth a shot at some point. Oh shit, there's another pun. Sorry.
Christopher is checking the time.
So when's the Xbox One X supposed to be being announced? Is it this year?
You mean the new Xbox?
Yeah, that's the one.
The Xbox One X is out, isn't it? It's really fucking expensive. It's like 450 quid or something.
Oh, okay. So they're talking about so that was Project Scorpio.
Yeah.
Right. So One X is out. So they're expecting, from what I read, another announcement for their next console, next year.
Yeah, as much as I don't think 2019 is going to happen, I think they could announce the consoles next year.
Yeah. Or at least give us a date.
I think it's a case of who blinks first, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose.
Because Microsoft could announce. I think it all comes down to the buzz you get behind your announcement. If Microsoft announce first, and then Sony come along with a higher spec machine, and with the momentum they already have got, then Microsoft potentially could be in trouble. But it'll come down to how good your announcement is against the spec of your machine divided by the cost.
It's funny, isn't it, how your launch games aren't really such a factor now when you're talking about raw power. With Nintendo, you expect your launch games to be the same 3 games, Mario Kart, Mario, Zelda.
Yeah.
And then I suppose with an Xbox you'll expect Metal Gear. Not Metal Gear.
You're thinking of Gears of War, aren't
Gears
you?
of War, yeah. Did I say Metal Gear earlier?
Yeah, and then we had that long diatribe about
Konami.
Gears being Metal Gear Solid being associated with Sony.
Yeah, so yeah. I meant
whereas Sony don't
Gears
ever really need to feel like they have first party games. I think every time they've had fairly soft launches.
Yeah. Sony. So
yeah, in terms of like the amount of games that come out and how good they are.
Fair enough.
Like, I think PlayStation 3, I bought mine release day, and the only games I bought were MotorStorm, which is first party and very good.
Okay.
And Virtua Fighter 5.
Okay.
Which is it was a Sega game, isn't it? Virtua Fighter.
Yeah, true. But yeah, was Uncharted not a launch?
It was in what you would call launch window, but
Right.
It wasn't a launch game.
Right. Okay. I just remember the boxes. Seeing what was that, Uncharted 4, and the Uncharted series is finished.
Uncharted
now, isn't it?
1.
Was it Uncharted 1?
Yeah, Uncharted 1
PS4?
was Uncharted
PS3.
4 wasn't anywhere near launch window either.
Oh, was it not?
No, Uncharted would be in was late launch window. I think Infamous was near launch window.
I have not played any Uncharted games.
It was a bit. It was a bit dry, the PlayStation 3, when it launched, because it was really expensive as well, wasn't it?
Can I play the first Uncharted game on my PS4?
Yes, because I've got the. They remastered the first 3.
Oh, and they're all together. Oh, I saw them in the
I've got a pack.
PlayStation
I can lend
store.
that to you.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, wicked. And then the story's finished now, Uncharted, or will they continue doing side?
I don't know what
because they've done a side story.
I
with
think they're
going to
have a big old break. They'll probably do. The Last of Us is coming, so we're.
Yeah, is that the same studio?
I think The Last of Us 2 will be like The Last of Us was for PlayStation 3. It'll be the console swan song.
Okay.
I think it'll be the last big game that Sony put out.
Right. Days Gone? Do you think that will be around the same time?
Days Gone will hopefully be the end of this year.
Right. And then we can expect, Last of Us perhaps, a couple of years' time. So.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okie dokie. Anything else we want to add to this?
Yeah, not really. I just think E3 next year might be a bit too early.
What, for any big
for them to
announcements?
But then they would do that. I think it depends. Like Sony, when they announced the PS4, they announced it on it, and it had its own event. And I don't even think the hardware was ready.
Didn't Xbox really
They announced it near Christmas and said we'll show you more at E3 next year.
Right.
Or
didn't Xbox really screw up with their release? Was it of the Xbox One?
The Xbox One.
Didn't they release it on the day they announced it?
No, that was Sega did that with the Sega Saturn. But what Xbox did is they came out and they went, it's coming with Kinect. It's going to be this much. We're not going to let you do this. You're going to install a game from the disc, and then that game's on your system, and that disc doesn't work anymore.
Oh wow!
And all this stuff. And then Sony came out the next day and went, "Yeah, it's $100 cheaper or $150 cheaper. You can do, and we're not changing anything."
Right.
And everyone just went, "Oh, that's amazing."
Okay.
And Sony even turned around and went, "And we're going to charge you, and you have to pay to play games online now." And people just didn't care.
Yeah, sure.
Because they just smashed it out of the park.
Well, it's still really cheap as well, isn't it? It's like £7 a month if you pay.
Just
monthly.
never pay for it monthly.
Yeah. Well, I'm paying for it monthly at the moment because I've only just got it. But at the end of the day, I can go and buy a year's subscription on eBay, for instance, for a lower price.
45 quid, Chris, or £72 or something it is, isn't it? No,
Yeah.
It's more than that. It's not. It's nearly not. It's nearly double the price paying £7 a month.
It is, yeah.
Because it's ends up being 85 quid or something, doesn't it?
There you go. Oh, that's something we could touch on. Any idea what February's free games are with PlayStation Plus?
No, because we're only in the middle of January.
So they announced them quite late in the month.
Yeah, they're very good at keeping it quiet now and announcing it late.
Right. Cool. Okay. Well, she'll hang on. I suppose we'll talk about those in another podcast at some point.
Yeah.
Because we did have somebody mention to me the other day about whether or not we were going to get a bit more gamey with our podcast.
Well, we've got a problem there. We'll have to start a Patreon and get enough money up together that we can buy our other hosts' PlayStations.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, it's going to take a lot of Patreon donations, but hey, who knows? It could happen.
It's only 300 quid, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone's got a spare 300 quid kicking about,
yeah, we'll drop us an email.
Absolutely. snewwiththecrew@gmail.com or podcast@SNEW Network, or drop us a line on Facebook, or, well, any other contact methods. Oh, yeah, Twitter, @SNEWWithTheCrew.
I was watching, just talking about Patreon and things like that, and people, and still talking about games and stuff. My brother-in-law was telling me he was watching somebody playing Fortnite, streaming.
Oh yeah.
So obviously he's streaming, and they do this thing where you can donate while you stream, and you have everything up. You have your chat window up on a different display.
Right.
And he's like, somebody just donated him $20,000.
What?
And the mate was like, "What the fuck? You're just putting me off the game and stuff." And then he was just like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I've literally made so much money from cryptocurrency in the last few months that you can just have $20,000 because I've just made millions from it."
Wow. Definitely worth having a Patreon account then, and getting on some Let's Play videos.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Let's Play. Give me some money.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to take a look at any of our personal stuff, on that note, you can find it linked wherever you'll find links. So yeah, Adam's comedy stuff, my music, Ross's PlayStation handle, Paul's all of the above, and yeah. If you fancy dropping us a line about anything at all, just to have a bit of a conversation about anything to do with pop culture, do drop us a line. Honourable mentions, of course, for Libsyn and Stitcher for hosting the podcast, and well, that about wraps it up, I think, doesn't it, Ross?
Yeah, that'll do.
That'll do. And we'll catch you next week for another snooze button, another review show, and probably another one of these little chatty things.
Hopefully we'll have more people.
Yeah, who knows? There might be 3, possibly 4.
Right, goodbye.
Thanks very much for listening, guys. Bye-bye.